So if y'all been watching my content for some time, you're probably familiar with the fact that I oftentimes frequent aim labs, which is basically like a free-to-play game that kind of teaches you how to aim with, your mouse and keyboard, whatever. And I don't want to toot my own horn a little bit here, but your boy just recently hit master rank in one of the exercises for this here season 4. So be careful when you come across me in some first-person shooters that you kids play nowadays, like what you call Fortnite or Warzone, or what's that new game, X Defiant. Like don't be coming across me, cause I got a hot trigger finger. Let me tell you what. Today this ain't about me. Today it's about Dennis Wynn. Dennis Wynn is currently in trouble right now after he just shot at a drone that was owned by Walmart. After the drone was invading his property, he thought the drone was surveilling him and he felt some type of way. He took that personally, so he took it upon himself to grab a firearm and shoot at the drone. We got a couple videos and we got a couple, clips from articles to look into. Let's break this down and get right into it. So we're going to kick things off here with the article stating that the deputies say that the crew stood in front of a home located in a cul-de-sac awaiting the drone's descent. As it began to descend, a rep said he heard what sounded like a gunshot. The rep saw a man at the side of the home holding a gun pointed toward the sky. The crew returned to Walmart and directed the drone to fly back to the store. Upon inspection, the reps discovered a bullet hole and $2,500 worth of damage to its payload system. According to reports, Dennis was trying to shoo away the drone. The drone was flying over his house, and he was trying to shoo it away because he thought the drone was surveilling him. He thought he was being spied on by the drone. He took it upon himself to go back into his home, open the safe, pull out a 9mm pistol, come outside. By then, the drone descended maybe down to maybe 75 feet above the ground, and he took it upon himself to shoot that drone with a 9mm pistol from 75 feet in the air. Mind you, this man is 72 years old. I just think it's very impressive that a 72-year-old individual shot a drone with a 9mm pistol with just one shot. I think that's actually very impressive. I would love to go one-on-one with this man when it comes to aim labs. I'm gonna knock on wood here. I'm gonna knock on wood to say that if I live to be 72 years old, I wish I have the aim of this man, because that's just impressive. For those that don't know what 75 feet looks like, I don't really have much of a measurement here to show you it, but just imagine yourself in a football field, right? 75 feet is the equivalent of 25 yards. So imagine shooting a drone, probably moving from 25 yards out, and you only got one bullet in your pistol. That's impressive for a 72-year-old man to achieve that, to hit that target, and to the point that there's a bullet hole on the payload. So he definitely landed his shot. The police arrive and everything. We got a video on that because, of course, Walmart is going to report the incident to the police. Hey, my drone got shot. Well, what's up with that? Let's roll the clip here.
Waved it off and everything. Never left. I went inside, went into the safe, got the weapon, came out, tried to shoot it off again. It didn't move. I fired one round at it. Now they say I hit it, so I must be a good shot, or else it's not that far away. So I'm under all sorts of, they say there's $10,000 worth of damage to the drone and all sorts of stuff. So I'm gonna wind up having to find a real good defense lawyer.
This man said that he must be a good shot. I'm over here at Aim Lab shooting at orbs and balls and spheres all over my screen. This man is out here shooting drones off the sky. This is a challenge that I am waiting to come across. I just think I just met my true rival here. As you can see, you have Dennis Wynn. He's speaking with the police. The police have their body cam on, and he just flat out explained the entire situation. There was a drone in his home. He decided to go home, grab the pistol from the safe. He shot at it. You know, he must have been a good shot, or it's not that far. Like, I just love the confidence behind that statement there. And then he just casually goes along to say, like, okay, and now I'm in trouble with law enforcement, so now I'm gonna have to get a good defense lawyer. Like, it's so casually. It's absolutely crazy. But again, I just can't get over the fact of how casual he's going along with this, and at the same time, how crazy it is for a man his age to shoot at a small target like that in the sky with a pistol at that. And for those that are wondering, well, what is he getting charged for? And this is pretty interesting, because you would think that, oh, they're probably gonna slap him on the wrist with a fine, and that's it. We'll go about their separate ways. But the charges seem to be a bit more serious than what it seems. So Dennis Wynn was charged with shooting at an aircraft and criminal mischief damage over $1,000 and discharging a firearm in public or residential property. So you're about to learn later on that these charges are actually pretty serious. This isn't something that is like, all right, you know, here's a bill, here's a fine, go ahead and pay it off, and we'll just go about our lives as usual. There's a real reason why there's a charge that specifically says charged with shooting at an aircraft. And you're about to find out how serious this is. So Business Insider did some deep digging, and they noted that the FAA, basically known as the Federal Aviation Administration, doesn't distinguish between a drone and a passenger jet when it comes to attempts to sabotage a commercial aircraft. It means that shooting a drone is classed as a felony and could see perpetrators fined and sent to prison for up to 20 years. Now, I will say this, that is a pretty hefty punishment just for taking a firearm and shooting at a drone. Basically, the FAA is a U.S. agency that is responsible for anything involving aircrafts. If you are a business and you have all these drones, say you're Amazon or you're Walmart, and you want to fly your drones across the country when it comes to deliveries, you need to talk to the boys at the FAA. If you do not get their approval, you cannot fly drones under any circumstance. They do play a very huge part as to why drones are able to fly across certain parts of the country the way that they do, because of course there needs to be rules and regulations in place for these things. You can't just take a drone and just fly it anywhere and it's all dandy and everything. These charges, of course, are pretty serious, so as Dennis Wynn said, he's gonna need a pretty good defense lawyer because these charges are pretty serious. This is what the defense lawyer has to say.
His attorney says he was defending himself.
Mr. Wynn was defending his property. He felt that this drone was invading his private property. He is a homeowner.
It's very interesting that, you know, the lawyer's kind of pulling out the defense card, saying like it's the self-defense. Now, it's very interesting only because, yeah, we need to look into the fact on what makes it self-defense. It's a drone, and he suspected that it was surveilling him. He didn't know what the drone was there for. He just knew that it was just above his property, and he felt that it was within his right to defend that property. So that's maybe where the self-defense comes in. And he felt that he was able to take his firearm and attempt at least to shoot the drone down. The drone never got shot down because it was able to fly back to the facilities at Walmart. He felt the need that he was, or felt the right that he was able to defend, not himself mainly. Okay, let's just say this. He was defending himself and his property basically. But there is a little bit of a catch to that.
As far as the property, I mean, traditionally, you don't really control the air above your house, you know, and just like you don't have mineral rights underneath it, right? I mean, there's a limit to what you control. And so technically someone can flying over your house.
That is a pretty interesting argument there. I think this gentleman kind of brought up an interesting argument here. You don't really dig in the backyard and see a whole bunch of diamonds and emeralds and say to yourself like, oh, I own this. You don't really own that. That's not part of your property because these minerals so happen to be under your home. Well, commercial airlines like JetBlue was to fly thousands of feet directly over your house. Are they invading your airspace? It's things like that that you really have to take into consideration. So if a drone was flying thousands of feet above your house, that doesn't mean that you can shoot it because it's within the range of your gun. And again, with the whole, Federal Aviation Administration, anything that flies over your house is considered an aircraft. So it could be a military aircraft. It could be, a commercial air flight like JetBlue or United or Spirit Airlines. Or it could just be a drone from Amazon or Walmart. If you take a gun and you shoot at it, that is a felony and you could face fines and also 20 or up to 20 years in prison, which is pretty crazy. And the only reason that Dennis Nguyen is facing these charges is because the FAA doesn't really distinguish any difference between a drone and, say, a military helicopter. The FAA, or at least in the eyes of the FAA, a drone is no different from a helicopter, which is no different from an a commercial airline. And it seems as if this isn't the first time this has happened. First of all, I think it's important to understand that this was a position that was held since 2016. The message doesn't seem to have gotten through to some people. The agency only recently started allowing unmanned commercial aircraft to fly beyond the operator's direct line of sight. In the past 2 years alone, incidences including North Carolina, Florida, and California made headlines when individuals with guns targeted drones, two of them which belonged to law enforcement. So Dennis Nguyen isn't the first person to shoot at a drone or mess with a drone, and Dennis may not be the last. Business Insider did a really good job pointing this out, but besides the FAA, the biggest obstacle that a lot of companies like, say, DoorDash or Walmart or Amazon have to go through when it comes to flying drones in local areas is gun owners. And that's a kind of weird thing to say, but at the same time, it makes sense. You're going to have gun owners that has firearms at their disposal to protect their property. And when they see a drone that's flying over their house, they are going to feel some type of way, and they're going to feel as if they have every right to protect their property. So of course they're going to try to shoo it away, and if that drone doesn't move or doesn't move out of their property, then yes, they're going to feel as if they could shoot the drone down just because. And it also doesn't help that not a lot of people, like Dennis for instance, knew that this is actually a law. I'm pretty sure this majority of Americans are unaware of the fact that you're not allowed to shoot at drones. They are considered aircrafts. We have to understand we're getting to a point in time where, you have companies like Amazon and Walmart that's pushing, the use of drones to fly to local or suburban areas so that they're able to make deliveries for efficient reasons. At the same time, you have people that don't like that, and you have people that are going to look at these drones like target practice, and you're gonna have people that are gonna go out of their way to take their firearms and shoot at these things. It's gonna be pretty crazy. I really would love to see how companies navigate this situation. I mean, sure, they're protected by the FAA, so if anybody decides to wild out and shoot at these things, there will be consequences for their actions. But I would love to see how this plays out, because this has happened multiple times and people still are not, catching the fact that, hey, you're not supposed to shoot at these things. These things could get you in trouble, so stop shooting at drones. But that's really all I have for you guys. I thought it was pretty interesting because, again, I'm huge when it comes to aiming, and I heard about this 72-year-old dude shooting a drone from 75 feet in the air, and I just thought that was just pretty awesome. That's actually badass if you think about it. But until then, guys, that's about it. I'm gonna hit the gym for a bit at AIM Labs, and then I'm just gonna call it a night here. So that's about it. Take care, y'all.